which is also my topic.
Hey! Why are we even here, Brandon?
Yeah,
Let's
why don't
go
you guys walk
home.
downstairs? I'm just going to talk to the camera. Hey, guys. What's going on? Anyways, it's Top 10 Tuesday time, and I've been dodging this one for a second.
Okay.
Because Chris was here last week, and I made him do a Top 10 list. But it's my turn.
How y'all doing?
And Danny, this one's for you. Top 10 PlayStation 3 games.
Well, I seriously should just go downstairs
of
now.
all time, baby. I've been teasing this since I forget which podcast that was. It was one after E3. I talked to John. It was the last one I did. I did Oreos, top 10 Oreos.
Okay.
And I said I need to stop doing food so I can do a top PlayStation 3 list. And then Alan relinquished me from the food crafts. He did the donuts.
He did.
And I said I don't have to do them anymore. Take those chains away. And I just rubbed your legs. How did that feel?
I'm excited.
10 out of 10.
Got like a 30% chub right now.
Hey! But anyways, yeah, here's my list. Did you have a PlayStation 3?
I did.
Do you think you can come up with 3 games from that console?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. All right, so one disclaimer here because it's freaking obvious. The best game of all time on the PlayStation 3, and it's undebatable, is Last of Us. I've left it off the list because it is in its class of its own as number 1. I will not...
Naughty Dog.
Listen, if you fast forward through this video, you're missing this right now.
Joel up here, man?
No, I didn't get that collector's edition. I was so mad.
What?
So I don't have it on the list, but it is my number 1 period game of all time / on the PlayStation 3. So I've left it off just to make other games fair. But anyways, number 10. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. Did you ever play that game?
I did. Fat Princess, baby.
Yeah. Oh, were you a sad princess? I was more of a Metal Gear. I used Raiden.
Were you? Okay.
And the newly revamped Devil May Cry.
Was this like the Super Smash Bros. But with PlayStation characters?
Yeah, it was the knockoff.
See.
It was one of those like cult hits. A lot of people didn't play it, but it was really fun.
It was.
You would charge up a super, and then as soon as you unleash it, you'd do some crazy stuff and knock people out. Yep. I remember I played with Landon and Alan in my old apartment, and we just got so mad at each other.
Landon, Allen, and Tony in fighting games.
Yeah, it's
a
not
sight
good.
to behold.
It is not.
It is spectacular.
Not good, but it was a fun game.
Super Smash Brothers. God, bless, he gets mad.
I played a lot of it on the Vita, believe it or not, because it was one of those first cross-platform games at the time. But it was fun. It was missing Crash Bandicoot because Activision owned them at the time. But they get a lot of the main characters, Fat Princess, Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper. Yep. They even had Sackboy from Little Big Planet, and then the dude from Twisted Metal. What was his name? Clownface or whatever. I forget what his name. Happy. What was his name?
That's it, wasn't it? Clownface?
Clownface? I don't remember what it's called. That's going to make me mad.
That was a PlayStation 1 for
like
me.
fireball
PlayStation
things.
1. Yeah, exactly. But
Twisted Metal was that game.
Sure was, baby. But that's my number 10, PlayStation All-Stars. Number 9 is God of War Ascension. Now, this one was released towards the tail end of that console's lifestyle. Or life cycle. Lifestyle. I've had a little bit of too much to drink today. But it was a prequel to every single game. And it had a lot of controversy behind it because it had like this trophy that when you killed this girl, it was like something bitch or something in the title, and a lot of people were like really, so they had to patch it because it was a really gory death, and a lot of people were like, that's really insensitive, you're glorifying killing women. But overall, it was a really fun God of War game. It was super epic. Did you play that one?
No, I did not.
You didn't get to play that one? Mm-mm. I actually bought the collector's edition.
Okay.
I was on a God of War kick there for a second.
Man, it's God of War. It's Kratos. Like, you should just...
Kratos.
I mean, I don't know.
There's not much story there. It's just pure fun and boobs and blood.
That's God of War.
It's God of War, baby.
That was the equation for God of War. Those 3 things.
So, yeah, that's my number 9. Number 8 is actually Twisted Metal. They released that on the PlayStation 3, and it was completely revamped. They got the original guy to do it. And it was just super dark, like the story mode.
It was.
They did like live action. Yeah, exactly. But it was super well done. The multiplayer was just spot on. They had these things where you could connect to like semi-trucks that had like turrets attached to them, so you could like drive up into it, and then you would take control of the semi-truck. It was just so much fun, and I didn't give it enough credit because I just never played it as much as I should have. But I do remember playing it and it just leaving an impact when I think of the PlayStation 3. So. Okay.
Also, thank you for saying turrets and not turrets.
Turrets. Do people call it turrets?
Oh my god!
Like bit turrets? Some bit turrets. You can download that.
Every time.
Bit kerns.
Every time.
Some bit kerns.
All All right, sorry. That was just a diatribe.
That was
right
my
there.
number 8. Number 7 is a little game called Heavy Rain.
Yes.
It's one of the first ones to do the whole cinematic storytelling slash point and click adventure game right. You had Indigo Prophecy before that game, but this was like the first like experience where it felt like you were watching a show, but you were participating.
I remember when they announced that at E3 and they did like their little trailer. It was I was like, what?
Yeah.
My friends and I were all sitting there and we all went, what?
Look at those graphics.
Yeah.
And it just had one of those crazy twist endings. Did you guys ever watch it?
Yeah.
You ever play it?
Yeah.
Do you know how it ends?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I won't spoil it for you if you ever decide to pick it.
No, go ahead, man. It's
Okay, well, spoiler alert. There's just this point at the end where you've been playing this character the whole time, and you're trying to find this serial killer, this kidnapper, and it turns out the guy that you're playing as is the one the whole time, and you were just like, oh my god! I remember I picked it up from GameFly, and I was just like, I don't want to send this game back. This game was amazing.
Devastated.
I was devastated, man. There's actually a interactive sex scene in that game too.
There was.
There was like full on like boobs and bush too. I was like, damn. Man, this game getting all pornorific on
Heavy
me.
ride, not heavy rain.
Heavy rain.
I should have put a disclaimer at the beginning of this list. These are all exclusives, by the way, that I'm doing here.
Yes.
These aren't like, I mean, there's definitely a lot of games in that life cycle that I played on the PlayStation 3 more than the Xbox 360, but these are all exclusives that you can only get on the PlayStation 3. So, disclaimer.
Hey, yo.
That was my number 7, Heavy Rain. Number 6 is a little game called Infamous. There have been multiple games spanned off from it, Infamous 2, and then the PlayStation 4 game Infamous Second Son. Infamous is the one that started it all, and it's probably the one that I played the most of. Actually, I might have played Second Son a little bit more. I did platinum that game. But Infamous 1 was like one of the first games that lets you, like kind of decide your path, like evil and light in terms of a superhero experience. You felt like a true hero. You had these electric abilities. You could grind on electric rails. It was just super fun. The graphics were
Unlimited
horrible.
power.
Yeah, you felt like the Emperor from Star Wars, but it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. And this is a funny story. When I first got my PlayStation 3, I had the same PlayStation 3 all the way through its life cycle. But I went to Walmart on Black Friday with Alan. And we were like pushing over people, like old ladies, to try to get to the bundle that included Arkham, Infamous, and a copy of The Dark Knight.
Okay.
And it was a slim model. And I was just like, oh,
Those are
done. Those are great games.
$2.99, right?
Yeah. It was like super. It was like a drop, like $50 cheaper than the normal. And I was just like, yeah, it's happening. And we're like, where are they?
Where are you keeping them?
Where is she? Yeah. I need my Dark Knight copy.
Where are you keeping her?
And Infamous was there, and I got rid of Arkham because I'd already played it, but I kept it. Like I kept Infamous all the way through until I got rid of my PlayStation just because it was such a good game. It was fun.
Okay.
So sorry, that's my number 6. Number 5. This game right here, was that real?
Ooh.
Yeah, it might have been.
I mean, it's as real as you want it to be.
This game had one of the freaking most frustrating ending boss battles, and I don't know why. Probably because I was playing on the hardest difficulty, but it was Killzone 2. I just remember that game because remember when they first pitched that game, they showed that cutscene and you thought it was all real gameplay, but it was all CG at the time. They did their best to replicate it. Yep. And the graphics were great. It's probably my favorite of the Killzone series. I didn't really like 3, even though a lot of people think that's the best one. 2 has the most memories for me, and it's primarily that boss at the end. I don't remember his name, but I remember almost sending it back to GameFly because I had GameFly at the time. I was like, I can't handle this anymore. This stuff is way too hard. So, but it was a great fun shooter for PlayStation at the time. There weren't many of those. So shout out to you, Killzone. Did you play that one?
I did.
You play them all?
Killzone 1 and 2.
Did you play Shadowfall on the PS4?
I did.
I wasn't a big fan. I never finished it. It wasn't. It was kind of like a tech demo more than anything.
It was.
I'd ask you, buddy, but like you said, you never had a PlayStation 3. But you might be able to choose some of a top 3 here. But anyways, that was my number 5.
My
Number
buddy
4.
down the road had one, so
Yeah.
played a
That's
little
right.
bit.
Stuart? What's his name?
No, Tyler.
Oh, Tyler.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's up, Carpenters? How y'all doing?
Hello. Anyways, number 3. Actually, no, number 4. I'm sorry, I skipped. Is God of War 3.
Okay.
Fantastic game. One of the best God of War of the franchise. Period. They remastered it. It was just so epic. It was the tale of just finishing off the gods. God of War 2 ended where you were storming Mount Olympus to go take down Zeus, and you're like, I'm coming for you! And literally from the title screen on from God of War 3, it just continues from the end of God of War 2, climbing up that hill. And it was a bloodbath. It was gory. Yeah. It was just, even in the end, I was just like, I don't know if this is going to end. And then you like stick your thumbs in Zeus's eyeballs. It was just great.
That's a perfect button mashing game.
Oh, yeah.
It really is.
They definitely got that down. And they're like the king of just the whatever you call those where you had to hit the button pressing sequences.
The timing.
Yeah. That everybody hates.
Time
they do it
events.
so well.
Looking at you, Call of Duty.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's my number 4. Number 3, we're getting down to the top 3 right here. I have 0 honorable mentions because I'm pretty much hitting all of the exclusives. Number 3 is actually Uncharted 3. A lot of people think that's the best Uncharted game. I could agree with you with certain segments, but
this fella, right? Oh nope, right.
Yeah, right. Mr. Nathan Drake.
So hard to do
it's a great game.
Ooh, good call.
It was one of those games that really surprised me because they just upped the ante like they did in every single other game. But I wasn't a big fan of the villain and the set, like the setting of the game, so that's the only reason like it's number 3 on my list. But it was just great. I mean, the Uncharted games are great. Every single one of them, in my opinion. Even the first one, a lot of people give it flack, but it was just so well done. And 3 is just another example of just like why Naughty Dog is one of the best studios in the business. So that's my number 3. Number 2 is Metal Gear Solid 4, only released on the PlayStation 4.
Yep.
That was actually one of my first PlayStation 3 games that I played. I remember I moved to Tulsa and somebody had a PlayStation 3 and I said, well, I'm going to use that because I've been wanting to play Metal Gear Solid 4 for a while, and I gameflied a copy of 4, sat there. I'm like, I'm not going to do anything here until I finish this game. And I pounded it out in 30 hours, with those 15-hour cutscenes. But it was super awesome, man. It was great to see the confusing conclusion to Solid Snake's legacy, which could have been continued if it wasn't for Konami getting rid of Hideo. But that's another story altogether.
That's an entire other podcast.
Yeah,
if you want.
that sure is. But definitely worthy of number 2 because if you had a PlayStation 4, you had to get Metal Gear Solid 4. I'm sorry, 3. Sorry, my bad. And my number 1 game of all time on the PlayStation 3, besides Last of Us, because Last of Us is obviously it, Uncharted 2. This is a heated topic amongst Uncharted fans, but in my opinion, it is the most cohesive story and the most satisfying story. It really just tells what it wants to tell perfectly, and a lot of that is due to the fact that Neil Druckmann wrote it, who also did Last of Us. It was a little bit darker. It totally Tarantino'd it from the start, showed you the ending before the beginning, and then it just kind of just told a thieves' tale. That's really what it was, and it was just, at the time, there was nothing like it. You were jumping from horse to horse and train to train, and you're like, oh my god, this is Indiana Jones in video game form. So I will forever remember that game more than probably 3, even though 3 was a great game, but it definitely earns its spot on top of my list, besides Last of Us. Last of Us, you win. Love you, but you're gonna make the list. But since you had a PlayStation 3, unfortunately you're excluded, Chris. What would be your top 3?
Last of Us.
Okay.
Obviously. Uncharted 3.
Okay. Give me 4 since you did Last of Us.
Okay. Well, you knew that from previous podcasts.
Yeah, so. Yeah, exactly. That's why I couldn't do it because that's in both of our top 3s.
Theme from Jeopardy.
Any of those. You can take any of those. See, was that your primary gaming console? Did you play it more than the Xbox? Yeah, see, that's where it's tough. It's because, like, if you remember PlayStation 3, you're probably thinking a lot of mainstream games that you really fell in love with. Like, because I played Arkham and Red Dead on it first. So I was like, oh, crap, I can't remember that. So, can't wait for Red Dead 2.
Yeah, but I'm...
Me either.
It's really hard because I actually had to look up a lot of the exclusives when I was doing my list. I felt like there was so much more, but there was a lot more of those collections.
I'm surprised
on PlayStation 3.
Did Jax and Ratchet and all that not come out on PS3 at all?
They were on the PlayStation 2. They were released on the PlayStation 3, but they were in remastered collection, which is a cop-out. And that's why
I played a lot of PS2.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody did.
Oh, yeah. When I remember my PlayStation 3, a lot of it was those remastered. They had like the Prince of Persia, they had the Splinter Cell, they had the Jak and Daxter, they had Ratchet and Clank, they had the Sly Cooper. That's all I was playing, and I just didn't want to do that because those were PlayStation 2 games.
Yeah.
You got them? You can do 3. You can do 3.
I'm
So you got
Batman,
Uncharted
yeah.
3, Last of Us, and one more. You can give it to the Trinity. You can give the Trinity to Naughty Dog because they're totally worthy.
They are worthy.
Did you like 3 more than 2?
Yeah.
Okay. To each their own. Liz is still trying to decide. She's just like, I don't know. I really liked 3, but I really liked 2. One or the other.
Oh, this is the worst.
I just gave you 10, man.
I know
Choose
you
one.
did, but yeah, but
You a God of War fan? Not really?
I was a God of War fan.
Mash the button.
Alan's a huge God of War fan. Mash the buttons.
Mash the button.
Just call it. You got 5 seconds to call it.
Like you're
Because
gonna
we got to
mash
keep
that.
this topic going.
Like
Go
you mash
ahead.
that
No, we
subscribe
can move
button.
on.
Okay.
Ain't that right,
I'm
Tom?
going to call it for him. It's Uncharted 2.
It's Uncharted 2.
Holy Trinity right there.
Fuck you.
Okay, no, we'll get to you. Last of Us and Uncharted 3. But yeah, that's fun.
I have one game
What's
that
that?
I played, and it was just because. So, in the history of consoles, the Xbox 360 came out in November of 2005,
Correct.
and the PS3 came out afterwards. And it
Correct.
was enough of a space in between that 360 kind of grabbed the market share and didn't really
Yep.
let it go for that entire
Yeah,
generation
they
console.
definitely barely won it, but they won.
Yeah, PS3 didn't come out till 2006.
Oh, way down the road. And but I mean, nobody can argue a PS3 hardware-wise was a much more capable console.
It was a little hard to design for, but yeah.
Yeah. So when it finally did come out, there was a shooter. I can't remember the name of it. There was a first-person shooter.
Resistance?
That was it.
Yep.
I played a lot of Resistance,
I did not. That was an Insomniac game, believe it or not.
and it was actually kind of fun.
That
I
one
had
became
fun.
a freebie.
Did it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you play Resistance 1 or 2 or 3? Because there was 3 of them.
One, because it was the launch title.
1, I think their tech demo they launched, it was showing a bunch of people on screen. And I remember seeing them like, oh, that's cool. And what were they called? The Scarabs or something like
Yeah,
that?
I
The
think
Scrap
so.
or
That
something?
sounds right.
But
It holds that same sentimental value to me as Call of Duty 2 does for me in the 360. Because I remember
Yeah.
going to Target and playing the Call of Duty 2 demo, and that
Oh,
was the first
yeah.
time next gen console, right? And it was the first time that it ever happened, and I was just
oh, look at those textures. Oh my God, look at the detail on the gun.
Sprites.
That's
look at how it
amazing.
is.
Yeah.
And Call of Duty 2 was probably the first campaign I ever beat on the hardest difficulty.
Mhm. That's
like,
because that's all
on-
the only
on
achievements they had
purpose.
for it.
Yeah, because we were all achievement score. Like, man, I lost my original gamer tag.
970 achievement score in criminal intent or whatever the heck the game was called. What was that called? Condemned Criminal Origins. Didn't even have 1,000. It was just like, let's just do 970. That works. Fuck. That game was awesome. It was terrifying. Landon knows about the mannequins. Anyways, what are your top 3 PlayStation 3 games of all times? Exclusives here. Exclusive. Put that down in the comments below. But anyways, moving on to the next topic, which is